Out of more than 5,000 mammal species, nearly every one wears a coat of fur. Chimps, gorillas, wolves, and bears are all wrapped in thick protective hair. And then there is us, standing here almost completely bare and smooth. We are such an oddity that biologists literally call us the naked ape. So here is a question that almost nobody ever stops to actually ask. Where did all of our fur go, and why did it ever leave? Evolution stripped away the very thing that keeps nearly every other animal warm. It removed our camouflage, our insulation, and our protection from the sun. That sounds like a terrible trade for a species trying to survive. And yet, losing our fur may be the reason you are alive today. The real story is stranger and far more dangerous than you would expect. So stick around and hit subscribe, because this one is hiding in plain sight. Here is the first twist that catches almost everyone completely off guard. You did not actually lose your hair at all. Not really. Look closely at your forearm in good light right now. You will see thousands of tiny, faint, almost invisible little hairs. Now count the hair follicles across the entire human body. You will find roughly 5 million of them packed into your skin. That is about the same number a full-grown chimpanzee has. We carry just as many hair-producing factories as our furry cousins do. The real difference is not the number of follicles at all. The difference is what each of those tiny factories chooses to make. On a chimp, every follicle grows a thick, long, visible strand. On you, almost every follicle grows a hair so fine it seems to vanish. Scientists call this faint covering vellus hair, the peach fuzz you barely notice. So the truth is that we never actually stopped growing hair. Instead, we shrank almost all of it down to nearly nothing. And that makes the mystery deeper rather than simpler to explain. Evolution did not delete our fur by some random accident or glitch. It carefully kept the entire factory but switched off the product. In evolution, a change that's specific only sticks around for one reason. That reason is always survival, so bare skin must have kept us alive. To understand why, we have to travel back to ancient Africa. Picture the scene roughly 1 to 2 million years ago. Our ancestors were leaving the cool, shady forest behind them. They were stepping out onto the wide, open, sun-blasted savanna. And out there, the deadliest threat was not a lion or a leopard. The deadliest threat on that open grassland was the heat itself. Here is the hidden problem with wearing a thick coat of fur. Fur is fantastic insulation, and that is exactly the trouble. It is wonderful on a cold night, but brutal under a blazing sun. A heavy coat traps heat against the body with nowhere to escape, and an overheated brain begins to shut down in just minutes. Our ancestors desperately needed a way to dump that heat fast. Evolution's solution to the problem was surprisingly radical and bold. Get rid of the coat and turn the bare skin into a radiator. This unlocked the human superpower that almost nobody ever brags about. That quiet superpower is simply the ability to sweat. You have between 2 and 4 million sweat glands across your skin. That is far more than almost any other mammal on the planet. When sweat evaporates off bare skin, it carries your body heat away. It works like a built-in, always-on air conditioner for your whole body. But sweat trapped underneath thick fur just sits there, useless and soggy. So for the cooling system to actually work, the fur simply had to go. And losing that fur unlocked something genuinely incredible for our ancestors. It gave early humans almost unlimited endurance in the punishing heat. Most animals can sprint very fast, but they overheat just as quickly. They are forced to stop and pant in whatever shade they can find. A bare, sweating human could keep moving straight through the midday sun. And that ability turned defenseless, naked apes into terrifying hunters. The technique they used has a name: persistence hunting. Early humans could never outrun an antelope in a short, flat sprint. But here is the thing: they did not actually need to. They only needed to outlast the animal over many long hours. A hunter would simply choose one target and follow it relentlessly. They tracked it hour after hour under the hottest sun of the day. The antelope would sprint ahead, then stop, gasping to cool itself down. It could not sweat enough, and its own fur trapped all that heat. The human, bare and sweating freely, just kept calmly coming. Sprint and rest, the same pattern repeated for hours. Eventually, the animal collapsed from heat stroke, unable to take one more step. No advanced weapons were needed to bring it down at all. It took only skin, sweat, and a patience that never ran out. Think carefully about what that strange ability truly means for us. Losing our fur did not leave us weak and defenseless. It made us apex endurance predators of the open plains. We could run down stronger animals using nothing but a cooling system. More meat on the fire meant far more calories for the body. And those extra calories fed the most expensive organ we own. That organ is the hungry, energy-guzzling human brain inside your skull. The very brain you are using right now to understand these words. It may have been powered by our strange ability to keep hunting. And here is the truly elegant part of the whole story. Once we controlled fire, wore animal skins, and built shelters, everything changed. We could cool down in the day and warm up at night. And we managed all of that without ever regrowing a single coat. In a very real sense, culture and invention replaced our lost fur. But that raises one more genuinely fascinating question to answer. If bare skin was so useful, why did we keep any hair at all? Because evolution is a specialist, and it wastes almost nothing. Each patch of hair that survived on us clearly earned its place. Take the thick hair that still grows on top of your head. It sits directly beneath the harsh, vertical rays of the midday sun. That hair works like a built-in parasol, shielding your delicate skull. It helps cool the blood that flows up toward your brain. Tighter, curlier hair even traps a cooling layer of air above the scalp. That trapped air makes curly hair an especially effective natural sunshade. Now think about the eyebrows sitting just above your eyes. They steer stinging sweat sideways, away from your vision during effort. Your eyelashes flick away drifting dust and trigger the protective blink reflex. Every single patch of hair we kept is quietly doing a real job. And some of that hair may have stuck around for a different reason. That reason, scientists suspect, is simple attraction between people. Once the fur was gone, bare skin became a kind of billboard. Smooth, clear skin openly advertised health, youth, and strong genes. It signaled a body that was largely free of parasites and disease. So sexual selection likely helped keep our skin smooth and bare. In other words, some of your nakedness exists simply because it looked good. So the next time you shiver in the cold and curse your thin skin, remember this. That bare skin of yours is a genuine evolutionary masterpiece. It let our ancestors run down prey beneath a merciless sun. It helped cool the very brain that would one day build cities. It may quietly be the reason our species spread across the whole planet. We did not simply lose our fur to some cruel accident. In the end, we traded that fur away for the entire world. So here is a question I would genuinely love you to answer. If humans keep evolving for another 1,000,000 years, what do we lose next? Drop your boldest theory down in the comments, because we read them all. If this changed how you see your own skin, give it a like. Share it with someone who is convinced they know why we are bald. And subscribe with the bell so the next discovery finds you first. Because there is always another strange story hiding in something you thought you understood. Until then, keep questioning everything and keep evolving.